Hello, welcome to episode number 185 of Live Drawing. With me, I'm Jace Nichols. I am a comic book creator and artist. I've been one for over 20 years. I've worked on books like The Tick, as you see here, TMNT. My newest book is called Undersea Hero. And I've done tons of variant covers for Conan, Red Sonja, all kinds of books. I suppose I should have a copy of my new book in front of me. Show that off. This is Undersea Hero. It's my new book. It's going to be at shows this year. My first one is March 29th in Franklin, at the Franklin Elks Lodge. It's the Harry's Hobbies and Collectibles show. It'll be the first place where anyone can buy it outside of the Kickstarter. So be there. It'll be fun. I think it's only $5 to get in, and I'd be thrilled if anybody came by and checked it out. I've been talking to people about getting my web store open and all these other things. People have been asking me about commissions and things like that. I'm not doing any commissions outside of conventions until the box doodles and everything for the Kickstarter is fulfilled. But after that time, my plan is to have some finished artwork available, like this sketch cover you see here, which is Chainsaw Vigilante, The Tick, and Arthur. And we'll have different stuff available, like back issues of things I've worked on, like, free comic day issues of The Tick, and some variant covers and some rare stuff. So tonight we're going to keep working on the box doodle, because that is what I promised everyone that backed the Kickstarter, is that they basically get a free drawing of characters or a sketch, and I do it on the box, and then on the mailer, and it gets one of these cards on there and gets a return address. So but yeah, this is where we will get to work, and we'll start doing. I posted what they look like. I mean, if you don't know what they look like by now, you can check out any of my social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, and you can see examples of finished ones. I use paint pens to try to make a nice finished product for people. So that's what we do, and we're gonna get started. First one. Hey, good to see you, Eli. Hey, if you ever want to pop on, I can always send you a link if you're drawing stuff. So if you have your camera set up, I know you've started doing some of these yourself. Congratulations again on your very cool magazine cover story. Mr. Eli Fivestone is on the cover to one of the local pubs for his beautiful artwork for Topsfield. So if you want to check out some very cool, like travel postery stuff, he did some beautiful work on those. I've got 7 or 8 of the rewards tier that I'm currently fulfilling. Man about town. Yeah, you can always pop on. I have my friend Allison on from time to time. I just send you this link, and as long as you have a camera or whatever, you can be on and draw and hang out, and we can ramble about stuff. Been drawing a lot of the indie characters lately because, like, the big two don't really need my help promoting their product. I think you probably could, as long as you can do the screen share function. I believe that's possible. Let me see if I can do that from here. I don't know what all the buttons are. Just give me a second. There it is. There's the invite link. Then I can go over here, and then I gotta find her. I'm gonna send it to you via the Facebook chat. There you are. There you go. I just got a new shipment of blue lead from my supplier, Jet Pens, for the Uni blue lead. For those of us old artists, we learned a long time ago that if you like an art supply, to buy it in large amounts. It's all right. You don't have to. I just sprung it on you last second, so don't sweat it. If you've got work to do, don't add stress to your work. I am just working on box doodles. I do have a thing I can't announce yet that I should be working on, but I can't work on it publicly because I signed a thing that said it would not be previously published in any form. Come on. Let's see if it's jammed. See, this is where knowing all your old stuff helps out. There we go. Get it started. There we go. That's great. Everyone has stuff going on. I'm always happy to hear that. I'm hoping from some of these shows I can, make enough money to save up to hire some other artists that I know to do some Undersea Hero. But I've got March, like I said, March 29th is the first one. I got one in April, one in March, June, May, I believe, is CodCon. I got to double check the date on that. That one's in Hyannis. That's another great one that's put on by the public library there. I think you may have mentioned something. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to say anything out of. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. So, but I believe you mentioned something. We've got a fresh pen to work on tonight, so that's good. When I first got these pens, I didn't love the big flexible tip one. Oh yeah, that's the one. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to. I didn't want to be the person that broke an NDA or something. In case she's watching, I just wanted to wish she pops in rarely, but occasionally, one of my good friends, an incredible writer, Jenny Wood. It's her birthday today, so happy birthday, Jenny. We worked together on a few occasions over at AR Comics, and she's just an awesome writer and person. So happy birthday. A Boy Like Me, her novel is available on Amazon and other finer book retailers. Flutter, an incredible graphic novel trilogy that she created and worked with several artists on. Uh, don't know if she's here, don't know if she'll catch the show, but just wanted to say happy birthday. She's one of the people I'm really happy I got to meet through the crazy business of comics. Hey Dennis, hey, congratulations on your commercial. I saw that. That was very, very cool. Congratulations. Thanks for popping in though. Telling everybody, Dennis is going to be charging us for his photo op line at some point in the near future, I believe. His voiceover work and now his in front of camera acting work. This Tombow pen is actually the more flexible tip, and I actually, like I said, I didn't like these at first, but for drawing bigger, they're phenomenal. I love being able to get a chunkier line, and I don't have the steadiest of hands, and actually the flexibility has given me some movement that I don't necessarily always have. Oh yeah, look at that. Free photos. Got the hookup. Yeah, that's the little logo. It's got the little dragonfly on there. Yeah. It was actually Walt Simonson was the first artist that mentioned that he was using these. He was just mentioning it to a group of people at his table. I wouldn't say that in that instance we were having a conversation, although we have had conversations many years ago at this point. You're gonna be swimming in gigs. You're gonna be circling parts that you want. You're gonna be on short lists for things. Yeah, they're like a flexible version of like the old school flare pens. If you wanted just a little bit more give to them. And they don't do a true feather, but they do kind of like an almost feather, I would say. I've been spending too much time on some of these box doodles, so I've got to do some like the tick that I can, they're professional, they look good, but I can just draw them faster. Hey Martha, it's good to see you. Nice little easy tick head sketch for this one. I'll color it in. It's not going to be, I'm not phoning it in, but I've drawn the tick so many times in my life that I can just draw him quicker than other characters that I have to like look at reference. Like I spent way too much time on that Mr. Monster piece. The turtle mug is back, yeah. I usually have it, it's just off camera. Absolutely, I love drawing. And there is no greater compliment than to be asked by someone to draw your own character. That's something I've learned even more so working on Undersea Hero. Like, there were a few people that liked the Acts of Helena stuff, but fantasy comics, especially ones that aren't all ages, are a very niche thing. There were only a few people that were like rabid Helena fans, I would say. But anytime anybody's asked for anything from Undersea Hero, which I haven't done any shows yet, so like I've had a couple of people ask about it, and there's a couple of things that that are irons in the fire. So I do have fun drawing other people's characters, but it's just different. But when you get when I've been asked to draw my own characters, it's a huge compliment. Because you go out on a limb. I'm sure you've done this plenty of times with your own stuff, that like, with your own character, your own idea, when you put all your guts into it and put it out, um, and I did shop Undersea Hero around to some publishers, and I talked to some editors, and like they wanted some pretty drastic changes, or it just was not a good deal. Like those are the two situations I was kind of faced with, where it was like, you can either do what we say and have it change what you're making, or I will say, we're going to give you a deal that's not great for you in the long run. So, where they own the rights to everything, or they have all of the licensing rights for what I would say is an extended period of time. Or I had one that wanted like a co-ownership situation, which was for like all time, and I was like, I'm not doing that. They weren't even like paying a page rate, so it was literally just for, um, I would say, listing it in a catalog. Oh, I mean, some of the drastic changes I've mentioned on here, like one of them that like they still don't understand to this day, was the design for the correlator, his shell piece. It makes people uncomfortable, and like I kind of point at it like, I invented this set of characters when I was a younger man, and I feel like in the final version I toned that stuff down to a degree. But when we were kids, the cartoons that were cool were not the ones that like your parents liked, and they weren't the safe ones. The cool cartoons and comics were like, uh well, it causes a reaction, like, and that's part of the thing. Like, not every response to a piece of artwork is like joy and love. Like, it's just, if it causes a reaction, then like I've done something that is very hard to do on paper. But like I said, whether it was Ren and Stimpy, or Rocco's Modern Life, or even The Simpsons were considered subversive when they, were first starting out. Even though when you watch those now, they're like wholesome family morality plays. Like the first episode of The Simpsons, where they get Santa's little helper at the dog track. It ends with the family together and happy. So, there were definitely editors that wanted to make it more like, I would describe it like SpongeBob SquarePants, and it's really not that. It's satire, and I think it says something about pop culture and comics, and it has a position that some other comics have held, where they can say things about genre and about the industry and conditions in a way that mainstream comics just can't. And so many indie comics, when they get some success, I see them start to play it safe in order to get licensed, or to become a Netflix show or something. I don't know, you know. And I'm not saying that they're wrong. I mean, that's what they chose to do with their thing, and that's what they think is right, and that's their position to be. I just, for Undersea Hero, because it was created by such a young version of me, I just I I didn't want it to become something that that version of me would have had contempt for. if that makes sense. I wanted it to be something that it's better, much better crafted than what that age of me would have made. The story has a plot. There's a beginning, middle, and end. For those that have gotten it in the chat or have read it, um, the ending does not come out of left field, is what I'll say for people that maybe haven't read it. Like, you can, when you read the ending, it makes sense, like from where the story starts to where the story finishes. So, I have books that, are more adult in theme as far as like taking on existential topics of aging and being human and all those things that I wanted to do. But Undersea Hero was never meant to be that, other than just by virtue of being stories about people. And, I think that cartoons, even though they're silly, they can be poignant and they can be beautiful, they can be sad, they can, invoke all these feelings and have a great range, because we've seen it in so many wonderful projects, comics, cartoons. So, hey, thank you, Dennis. Good to see you. Congrats again. Let's get our whites. Extraordinarily bright pink, which I love that marker. And we got the brush blue, got the regular blue, and then with the tick, I always like to have orange because it's always good to use complementary colors. If you've never studied like the color wheel or whatever, the complementary to blue is orange. So if you're ever wondering, if you're ever looking at a color wheel, if you look it up online, it's those circles. The colors that are across from each other are complementary. So blue's over here, orange. So. Do we want to do the lighter blue or the darker blue? Let's use this blue because we've got a lot of boxes to go, and those are expensive markers. Did I pull out the other blue yet? Because I think I've worn this out. Yep, here it is. Here's the newer one. I bought 2 sets of these markers to hopefully get through the zillion box doodles. I did see the news about one of the founders of Dark Horse Comics stepping down. I'd met Mike at a number of shows over the years out on the West Coast at San Diego. I saw him pretty much every year. I'd never worked for Dark Horse. I've had plenty of friends that did. Bought plenty of Dark Horse comics over the years. I think The Goon was one of the best books they ever published. Always loved that book. Eric Powell's a terrific creator, wonderful artist. If you haven't read his 2-part two-part story, two or three-part story in Action Comics of Superman and Bizarro. I highly recommend it. And then there's also a one-shot that he did of Monsters Unleashed that was basically doing the Hulk versus Devil Dinosaur, which was kind of this random one-shot that came out that was kind of insane, um, but glorious at the same time. So, track it down in the back issue bins. I don't know if it's ever been reprinted or if it ever will be. They did a series of one-shots of those monster books, and they all um, just kind of disappeared. There was a period of time where NEC was looking to do more than just the Tick, and I didn't believe it really that much at the time, but they had published a bunch of random other books over the years, the War series, that weird Y2K book, and like a whole bunch of other stuff. And I definitely had pitched them a couple of things, and one of them was Undersea Hero. I did offer them to put out Undersea Hero, and on a creator-based contract. And yeah, they had some editorial changes they wanted, and they also just like ended up not doing any other books other than the Tick. So it's not like they kind of left me in limbo, but because nothing else got published, I just think that it was a momentary blip for the publisher there, George Suarez. I always tell people to, if they're trying to draw the Tick, to lean into exaggerating rather than just trying to do heroic. If anybody was at Baltimore Comic Con a couple years ago, they put out this beautiful yearbook where all sorts of artists did their interpretations of the Tick. Now, Walt Simonson was there. I was hoping we were going to see what it would look like if he drew the Tick, but he did not participate that year. But we got to see Joe Staton and David Peterson and all kinds of artists. And I felt like when I looked at it, being one of, I believe, two artists at the entire show that had drawn the Tick in a comic book. Actually, it would be three, because Don Simpson was there, and he did the Red Anvil War of the Independents Tick crossover one-shot thing. I thought that the artists that really leaned into being more exaggerated were the most successful. But some of my friends who had never drawn the Tick didn't realize how difficult it was. And the difficulty stemming from, he has no markings on his suit or anything. So you have to get your anatomy, and you're kind of out on your own like limb for this. I missed a message. Sorry, I had to answer a question from Mr. Eli there. And we get our orange. Just doing a nice little outline. It's a good way to get the blue to pop. So. One of the questions that I was going to ask some folks, since I haven't had my store open, haven't had anything, if there was anything new or interesting people would like to see me give a go and have in my shop, whether it's types of sketches or anything, if there's anything new that I'm not aware of. I usually just have finished artwork. I don't usually put pages out available for sale just because I don't really sell pages. But I still like doing sketch covers, but I don't know if people actually still buy sketch covers other than me. Oh, you did a whole sheet of your offhand doodles. That's very cool. I'll have to take a stab at doing that at some point. I did it when I was younger in school as an exercise. Everybody keeps telling me about all these random bleed-proof white pens and stuff, but nothing has ever come close to the Pentel Presto pens to me. It's a perfectly flat white, works every time, and it's easy to use, and I love the format. Anytime I can find them, I buy them by the case. Oh, index card size sketches, little ones. See, I hesitate to offer, where the person purchasing picks the stuff, and I also have to put a warning on my page when I boot it back up, is because like sometimes I only get to the post office once a week, and I definitely have had people complain when stuff hasn't shipped quick enough, and sometimes I admit I've taken too long. But I don't want to. I at least want people to be aware going in that I'm just one guy, and if I'm going to the post office, it may take me a little bit. But the good thing with the Kickstarters is like anything that's like comic book sized, I'll have some of those Gemini mailers just lying around, so should be easy to mail out. Do bookmarks actually sell for people? Like that's another thing that I don't know. Because like the profit margin on a sketch cover is massive, and I've always kind of questioned doing like low profit margin, low cost stuff again. It's one of the reasons why my first issue actually does cost more than your average comic. Is one, it's much bigger, and two, it's the first issue, so it'll have all the first appearances and everything built in. I basically, in the first issue, give you a 3-issue miniseries. So that's kind of my logic behind the whole thing. And nowadays, when you buy 3 issues, like the single issues are like $6 a piece, basically at this point. So, and mine's square bound and has the nice stuff on it. Oh, add-on and Kickstarter. I got you. That makes much more sense. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, that's a good idea for an add-on for a Kickstarter, for sure, because you're already doing like the big shipments or whatever. Yeah, one of the things that drove me nuts in my old store was that like I offered just $5 comics, and like going to the post office for like $10 worth of like $5 comic and $10 for shipping. It's too much. Thanks, Eli. You know how it is when you've drawn the tick so many times. It's the orange. The orange gives it the little pop. So. Uh, $10 is an exaggeration for shipping a comic book in a mailer like this. It usually costs like $6 or somewhere thereabouts for media mail. Real simple, just a nice easy box doodle of the tick. Can do those pretty quickly, as you can see. That took us 40 minutes, half hour. On to the next one. Should we do this time? Should we keep going with my stuff? Should we do one of my characters? Should we do? I was reading a. Hey Desiree, good to see you. Yeah, I started this one. There's Chainsaw Vigilante taking Arthur on a cover. Hopefully, I'll get that done. But been reading some old comics. Read some Phantom Stranger, some old Captain Marvel. I always like the Phantom Stranger. I know that it's not a popular comic, but I always liked it. Maybe we'll draw Phantom Stranger since I just read this comic. It's tough to draw the hat, but we'll do our best. I almost feel like I need to draw the hat first and then build the skull to it. See if I can find a better reference shot. Come on. Pencil lead, giving me a hard time. I'm going to draw the hat first and then try to build the head to it. That way we don't have to reverse engineer anything. That's the top of the skull. That's where the eyes would be. It's a free box doodle, so if I draw a crummy hat, it's not like it's the end of the world. So, that is a very lofty goal. Being able to pencil ambidextrous. Of course, the backup story is Dr. 13, which takes up most of the issue. There we go. There's a good close-up shot right there. That's true. Inking yourself is usually you can, redraw stuff in ink as you're going, so it can help save a piece for sure. Oh, we might have a guest popping in. Let's take a look. Is that you, Elon? Yep. Yep. He was out. He was in and he was out. Well, we can try again. Let me see here. Make sure that I didn't miss a message. Hello? Eli?
Hello? Can anyone hear me? Can anyone see me?
We can hear you. There's a
Oh, wow. Neat.
Yeah, there's a logo on your screen.
Oh yes. Oh, okay. I know what that is. Oh, we. Okay.
We can see paper. There's paper. Going to go over to the chat. That's not covering you live. There we go. There's a hand, and we're back to paper. A large figure.
Well, I don't think that's working very well, so I'm going to sign off until I figure it out.
No worries. Thanks for popping in. All right. It's back to us. So we're going to just keep working on our little sketch here, our free sketch. Hey, Michael, good to see you. I don't know why, Michael, but you strike me as someone who has maybe read a Phantom Stranger comic. See, I knew Michael had the comic range of a Phantom Stranger comic as well in his repertoire. Not sure what colors to use on the Phantom Stranger because he's kind of navy blue and dark. Hey, Martha. Sorry to hear you've been down. I hope it's nothing too serious. And as Michael always likes to say, I hope things get better for you. I'm stealing your line, Mike. I stole your line. I'm sorry. We're always happy to have you here. So you're always welcome. It's always nice to have you around drawing with us. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. Different theme every night. Keep it moving. It's always good to do exercises where you're trying to picture it at a different angle. I remember from the Cubert through the mail courses. Oh, theme requests for your sketches. I think you've already done like fantasy stuff, so I don't know. Maybe. Um, oh, we're talking about drawing hats, so maybe something like the 1940s in New York, like you know, cool old cars, cool old clothes, that kind of thing. That might be too much work for an exercise, though. That requires research, so something you can do on the fly. Um, I was just going to say in the Qbert mail away courses, which you can still buy to this day. I know Anthony Snyder has a stack of them because he does a lot of business with the Qbert School and he sells them through his website. Um, they have a section where they ask you to draw something from an angle you haven't seen it from, and that's, again, just like you were talking about, the same type of exercise. Oh, cool. Ooh, excuse me. One of the sketches that I have to still do for the Kickstarters, one of the commissions actually that I sold through it was of one of the horror hosts, Cynthia, the blonde lady from The Witching Hour. I don't think I've ever drawn her, so it'll be interesting. What do I do with my reference here? I know I should be looking at the Aparo stuff, but I think that I think Jerry Taliak, however you pronounce it, is an underrated artist. I think that he did some solid work for a lot of the DC books, especially the mystery stuff. I've drawn worse hats. It's not my best hat, but I've drawn worse hats. Oh, I'm sure you will. I do want to do some. That is one thing that, even though my story takes place in space, I do at least want to get one vintage car in my story. Um, just because I haven't drawn one in a million years, and I just think it would be fun. I don't think I have. Do I have a purple paint pen? Not the worst hat, but not the best hat. It's a hat. We'll get by. It's a free sketch hat. No reference either, other than just the comic book. I've got a gold pen here. Let's see if we can bleed out a little extra gold. Just trying to add little bits that make it fun. This gold marker was literally like $1 at Ocean State Job Lot. Oh, I do have purple. Yeah, there is a purple in here. So, look like purple. There it is. A little bit of white. I think actually his on his hat, yeah, it's black, solid black. So I do have to fix that. This is solid black. Crowd scenes are tough just because you got to get the perspective right. But it could be a fun challenge. If you're looking for a challenge, that's always a tough one. How dark is this blue? Is this dark enough? I mean, that could work for the navy if it's, yeah, it's a little too dark, I think. Should we wing it? Should we go for the navy? Just take a little test. Let's see. It's very dark. Almost black. Yeah, I think that's too dark. I actually think this marker is probably the closest. There's no going back with paint pens. Once you make that first line, you have to commit to it. It's already in. It's already gone. We're winging it. We're going, Desiree. Thank you. I appreciate the encouragement. With gusto. I can hear it from the "Are these my seats?" posts, which I love those. I do not get tired of those. Like when you're at the Dodger game or whatever, "Are these my seats?" And I'm like, I don't know, but I hope so. That's kind of how I interpret those from my end. That's the I do love those posts. The Phantom Stranger. That's a character that, like, it kind of missed, I think, that moment where I think the character would have done great with a serial way back in the day, like the old. If you ever saw the Shadow or the Phantom serial, they actually have the Shadow serial, the original one, on Tubi for free right now. If you wanted to check that out, I know I have pledged my enjoyment of many things on Tubi in the past. It's just so free, and the interface works so well. I've got streaming services I pay for where the interface just is not good. And I never know if they're your seats, but I hope that they are. I hope that you're like, this is great. What do we want to do for the background? We want to do something a little different. Let's get our circle template. These are my templates that I always have nearby. I've got my ovals for my speech balloons, and then I've got a couple different sizes of circle templates. So I always have these around. Let's have some fun. Let's do some just different colors. Haven't done any purple yet. I wanted to do some purple. It's not my favorite color. Green's my favorite color, but I feel like some purple would do us all good. And we'll get us some pink maybe. That's yellow, that's orange, blue. Maybe the pink ran out. There it is. There's our pink. turned off the chat when Eli stepped out, so we can put it back on since he looks like he won't be joining us, so that's okay. At some point, I'd love to just get a bunch of the Tick folks that have worked on those comics on a stream. If I could get Gabe and Eli on the same stream, I'm sure they'd give us some good stories from their time working together on stuff. Fun with circle templates. And then for this one, I actually want to get a little bit of the white on his nose. Oh no. See if we can scrape it off. Sometimes with just a little bit of spit, you can get it off, but looks like we're trapped with that outcome, so we're going to have to distract. So that's okay. Just going to have some fun with it. And there we go. There's our Phantom Stranger. That was fun. I don't know if I've ever drawn him before. Well, it's 9/18. We did 2 boxes, which, you know, better than 0. So there's our Tick and our Phantom Stranger. So thanks everybody for hanging out tonight. We're going to call it a night, and hope everybody has a good weekend. And it's good to see you, Desiree. I haven't seen you in a minute. And Martha's, I hope you feel better. And yeah, everybody, it was great seeing you. And yeah, Michael, thanks for coming in. Eli, everybody that popped in, Dennis. So yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Night, everybody.